What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo. Tonight, we're talking Peacemaker Episode 7, Like a Keith in the Night, which makes me very happy.
So it's your favorite episode then, right?
Yes. Well, it was funny. We'll tangent here before we start. We posted a TikTok where it was my theory that Amanda Waller was going to be the head of the Sons of Liberty in the thing. And someone commented, Keith. And I was like, yes. And they're like, no, my guess is that Keith is going to be leading the Sons of Liberty. And I'm like, oh, I thought you were just saying my name. I didn't even realize that. So, yes, definitely my favorite episode. But before we get into all of that fun, Dave, how's it going, sir?
Well, Keith is saying freaking tastic. Yeah, short episode this week, but so much happened. And, they said last week, I know I'm jumping right into the topic, but last week they were saying, James Gunn said that was John Cena's best acting performance he had seen. I beg to differ. I thought this week he was excellent. I've never seen him act like that. It kind of struck the right notes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
So
you're right.
can't wait to talk about it. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Well, Dave, I am tremendous. Another fun-filled Sunday afternoon, and Tigers are playing against Seattle. My Packers didn't lose today because they had a bye week. So yeah, it's all good. All good. You ready to talk a little Peacemaker?
Let's do it.
Like a Keith in the Night begins after realizing Earth 2, or Earth X, whatever you want to call it, is controlled by Nazis. Peacemaker and Amelia kind of fight security and bust out on Keith's motorcycle after he flies him through the glass, of course, which she's complaining about it. He's like, I'm getting used to flying people, flying an extra person on this.
I was aiming for the door.
And then he had my favorite line. Oh man, I got to make sure I bring the peace cycle with me back to the other dimension. Glad he has.
Well, I liked how in this episode where he just immediately, as soon as he saw the other hardcore, he's dumping the other one because he knows that's the one he wants. He doesn't want to substitute hardcore. He wants her. And knowing that she came back there for him meant more to him than anything else.
And her saying no earlier, her actions speak a lot louder than what she says. So yeah, he definitely was like instantaneously, yep, oh hey, we're breaking up.
Yeah.
Why? But then we get Adrian and Adrian 2, and he finds out working with the Sons of Liberty to fight back against the Nazi government. Abadeo is running away from Keith and a bunch of other white supremacists until she's saved by Judo Master, who electrocutes the mob in a pool. When she first jumped in the pool, I'm like, why don't they run around and trap her?
Right.
That's a bad choice. So I don't know why they just all followed her in. I guess they're not too bright. They are white supremacists. And
It's
then
true.
he electrocutes them all, and then later he's like, that's the most I've ever electrocuted people in a pool. What's
Oh, yeah?
your other record?
What's your previous total?
4.
So he has done it in that situation before.
He has his
So
go-to move.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought the same thing. I'm like, first of all, why did she go in the pool? Second of all, why did they follow her? Why didn't they just get on the other side? It didn't make sense. But like you said, they're not very bright.
I'm surprised they didn't
And
yell, she can't swim.
I like how the dad he got Keith out of that situation just very naturally. I don't care what you're doing, you need to come here now.
Yep.
All right, Dad. So that was cool. He didn't get electrocuted in the pool.
Yeah, we do find out why he did that a little later too. But Judo Master takes her back to just some house he's staying in because the people are gone. He's eating their Cheetos with an H, which aren't as good as the ones back home. And he's been reading all the history books, so he knows what's kind of going on. And I love that he's like, "Do you want to play Scrabble while we wait for turn?" Yeah, sure. Whatever. I thought that was
Here it's
fun.
called Scrabble. And I'm terrible at Scrabble. Yeah, I mean, what else would they could lay low there because they were minorities and they were in trouble if they left. So
Yeah, and when later when she's like, yeah, they don't seem to like, people of color, or I think he said it, people of color, you know, gay people and something else. And he's like, they don't like me at all or whatever. I was like, okay, here we go. And then she even said something, is this really that much different than our world? It's a little more out in the open, but I think there are definitely, similarities.
I like how she goes, Jesus. And they go, oh, yeah, they really like him here.
Oh, that's right.
That was kind of fun.
Yes. But like you said, Augie calls Keith back because he has captured Economos. And I love that he's like, everything I said, I just made up. None of it's true. But of course,
no,
he said things.
what you told was true. You're like a human lie detector or something.
Of course, he says all of these things that are, only someone who knew about the quantum, unfolding chamber would know. So of course he knows he wasn't lying earlier. But Augie does reveal that Chris 2 is dead, and that basically Chris 1 killed him. And so the two go out to get Peacemaker and Harcourt and force them back to the mansion, which they do, after killing a crap ton of police officers. Which I was a little shocked by it at first, but then we hear later that he's not really one of them, and it makes a little more sense.
Yeah, because we're picturing him of how he used to be in our dimension. And they still haven't expanded on that. And so when he comes down and kills all those cops, you just think it's more of the same. But it turns out later on, it's not.
Yep.
And even Keith was kind of not on board with his dad about it. He was a little more extreme than his father was.
He definitely was. He was fine with the way things were going. But and then back in the original Earth, Flag Senior and Bordeaux visit another Superman character, Happerson, and using Lex Communications Hub, he finds the location of the quantum unfolding chamber, which, was a nice touch. It's nice that they don't just find it naturally. They have to make a deal with Luthor, which is going to probably come back to haunt them in a little bit. But they now kind of have Luthor's communication hub and everything that they can use for that with someone who kind of knows how to work it. So Argus is gaining a lot of power.
Yeah, when Flag left, he says, maybe I'll keep you around, And when this is the first menacing Luthor that I've seen, like a hidden menace, you know what I mean? Where they brought him in and they said, he goes, what am I getting for this? Oh, maybe I'll just go tell Luthor that you weren't being cooperative. So, oh, you know what? Never mind. Everything's cool. That's the first time I've seen him represented like that in like live action. He's always just been like Luthor's on his own. Nothing menacing like that. But this guy's like, if I cross Luthor, he's going to take me out.
He knows better than to cross Luthor. He's probably seen. Well, we know he kept all those people in that dimension. Even ex-girlfriends who didn't get... So he knows how he is, and he does not want to be on his bad side.
Yeah, and that adds a level of depth to Lex's character, even going into the next movie. He's not a good guy, and it's not just like he's a goofy off-side character. He's ruthless, and he appears ruthless now. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and Nicholas Hoult is great at that too. He really shows the range of emotions and anger and stuff. So I can't wait for Man of Tomorrow. I'm glad we're getting it in less than 2 years. But back at the mansion, we see Augie and Keith interrogating Chris, and he tells them who he really is and said, I accidentally killed the other Chris. I didn't want to. And he explains how he followed him back into the thing, and he ended up, hitting his jetpack, and he just flew up into the one thing in all of that area that could hurt him. And of course, Augie believes him.
Yeah.
Because Augie is not the same as he was in our, like you were saying earlier, we all just assumed he was going to be the same here as he was in the other dimension, but he's not at all. And, we're kind of finding out he's sympathetic, he's loving, and he doesn't agree at all with the people who won the war.
Yeah. My world's got its own problems. I don't like them. I don't have to agree with them. I just have to be able to do what I can do as me. And I was like, and then he's right in the middle of giving the speech about how he's not a Nazi. And of course, Vigilante comes in and practically takes his head off.
Yeah, and that's right before he's pretty much saying, "I'm gonna let all these people go back to their dimension." Keith is not very happy about it, but he seems like he'll listen to his dad. But then, of course, Vigilante sees in the window that they're all tied up, and he comes in and takes care of Augie because, just like us, he assumed his dad was going to be the same in this dimension. So, yeah, this might put a little rift between Vigilante and Peacemaker, coming back, but he just takes him out quick, Vigilante style, as you will. But they come back. The Adrians, Abidio, Judo Master all come back, and it prompts Keith to shoot at him, alerting the police after Vigilante, attacked them. So they come barging in, which worked out perfect. The fact that they had come earlier, and of course Augie's like, "Hey, if you don't got a search warrant, you're not coming in. Chris ain't here," and he kind of pushes them off. So there's a reason for the police to be there because of what happened earlier, and then obviously once the fight, kind of after Vigilante does what he does, and they start fighting and shooting and everything, the police come storming in. And of course, I really thought it was great that Eagly kind of saved Chris. Like, he was probably going to let his brother kill him. And Eagly was having nothing to do with that and saved him. And, eventually they're all kind of going out, but being smart, being the spy, being the, person that Amelia is, she was going to kill Keith because she didn't want him coming back after him. But of course, the police barge in. They start firing. She's got to get out of there before anything happens. So even though he's not doing great, Keith is still alive in that other dimension.
And you noticed that cop was the same cop from season 1.
Yep. It was funny because James Gunn said he's almost only the only cop we could have from season 1 in Earth X because he was like the only white guy. And I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's because his partner was Asian, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, and that was and he was on. You can hit the button. He was on Smallville. That's one of the first things I noticed. So I was like, are they filming up in Vancouver? Because that dude was on Smallville. I think he was also on Arrow, which was filmed in Vancouver. So I was thinking, did they film Peacemaker in Vancouver?
Speaking of Arrow, did you know Vigilante Freddie Stroma was in Arrow season 4?
No, what was he doing?
He played one of some archer. I can't remember who it is now. It wasn't Merlin, but he would. Someone said it took me 2 years to figure it out, and I saw the picture. I'm like, I didn't had any clue that he was in it. But yeah, he was in Arrow season 4.
We'll have to go back and check that out. And one of the last few things that Hardcore sees on the way out the door is Vigilante, taking on all the bullets and everything and making sure she gets out there and slams the door behind her. And the look on her face was like, wow, this guy just really did something for me, And that's what Vigilante is, just no BS. Like at the end of last season when he ends up in the hospital and he just gets up and leaves.
Yeah.
Does he got some kind of healing power? I don't know, but it's always like he's going to be okay. He's going to be fine. He's going to get out of that situation that he's in.
It definitely does seem like he has a healing factor of some kind. And now, was it just me? And I didn't watch it a second time. I didn't get a chance to yet. But did Vigilante 2 come into our universe?
No.
Okay.
He's the one who closed the door.
Okay. I was like, wait, did they switch? But okay.
Yeah.
Good. But, they come in, and Argus is obviously waiting there for him since they knew where it was. And Peacemaker gives up the, quantum unfolding chamber and says, hey, these guys are innocent, and it was all me, take me in and stuff. And, of course, Judo Master, who probably is a little more sympathetic towards this team after what went down in the other dimension, he's like, is that what happened? He goes, yep, that about sums it up. And yes. I was like, he's making friends everywhere because he is a decent for a guy that murders people for peace, he's like a decent human being. He cares about his friends. He wants to do right. He does all these things. He's just, right now in a terrible emotional spot because his dad got killed by vigilante. His brother got very
Backed by the team.
yeah, terribly wounded by Eagly, and everybody else in there. So, he's at a rough spot. And I just, man, you talk about feeling, you always hope that the good guys, the main characters are in a great place and doing well. But, man, like, he's at his lowest point right now. He went into, the best dimension ever. Excuse me. Didn't realize it was run by Nazis. I loved when she goes, the picture of Adolf Hitler. And he goes, how did I miss that?
What was that? Yeah.
But
no, that scene where he screamed and they were all, taking out his brother and he screamed and he went over there, what's wrong with us? That was the moment I was like, that's an Oscar moment right there. You didn't expect that from him. He handled it so well. I'm so sorry, I don't know. We thought it was going to be bad if he had to take out his own family. And it's great that James Gunn didn't release anything until this week because the way it actually played out was so much worse for Chris.
It was.
He didn't have to take him out himself, but he had to watch both of them get taken out.
One, he was tied up, and the other, he was ready to let Chris, Keith take his life for what he did and how guilty he felt. Now, I mean, he's even, what did he call himself at the end? The angel of death or something?
The angel of death. Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, that's.
He's like, it's just me. It's not the universe. It's me. Whatever I touch turns to crap. And I'm the angel of death. And I'm like, oh my God, that's what he's feeling right now. That's what he's going through. And you can see, you don't normally see really, people can say that in action movies, but you really can't normally see it. And you can see it in his face. They did a great job.
And how the first two seasons have gone. Everything that has happened to him, has not been glossed over. Season one, things that happened in season one still play a major role in what's going on now. And it just keeps getting worse and worse and piling on him. It's like, man, you feel so bad for him. You hope he's going to come back and have a good time, but I doubt it'll happen in the last episode already. He's gonna have a rough go of it for a while, and I hope his friends help pull him out. But I mean, like I said, Vigilante killed his dad in that universe, and the rest of his friends tried to kill Keith. He's gonna have a tough time trusting them or being close or willing to accept their help after all that. So it's not going to get better anytime soon, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. I think he'll be okay with
Abigail.
Abdiel. I think he'll be okay with her because even after that happened, she was carrying him through the quantum room. So, but maybe not with hardcore, knowing she was gonna take him out.
Did he see that though? Because he was already through.
Yeah, I don't think he saw that. Do you think anyone would tell him?
No.
The only person that saw that was Vigilante from the other universe.
Yep.
So yeah, probably not.
So
unless she comes clean.
And she might. Maybe she'll feel guilty, but I mean, right now we got Argus, who not only has their hands on Luthor's control room with all that has, now has the quantum unfolding chamber, which is a lot more sturdy of a pocket universe or extra dimensional, thing. And we know from the trailer that they're going to be going through and visiting all these other universes, probably to see what they can do or what they can take to gain more power. So it's going to be interesting to see how much of that leads into Man of Tomorrow. Like, the more I watch what's going on here and James Gunn saying this leads right into Man of Tomorrow, the less I think it's going to be Brainiac. Like, it's going to be something that Argus releases from one of these dimensions that they're going to have to team up to fight.
As long as it's not a kaiju.
It could be multiple kaijus. Yeah, I don't think it'll be a kaiju. I'm trying to think of, what it could be. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out next week. I mean, I can't.
Bizarro.
Oh, could be Bizarro. Yeah.
You can see that happening in an alternate dimension. Yeah. And I wonder, it'd be crazy if that being that never says hi to him, it comes from his dimension. That would
Oh,
be a reason for him to be there. That'd be nutty, I think.
he'll probably be friends with like Rick Flag Sr. He'll say hi to him and stuff, and that'll set Peacemaker off even more. He wouldn't even say hi to me.
He wouldn't even say hi to me. I was burning little bodies of squirrels or whatever he was throwing in there.
But I do wonder where Peacemaker's psyche is going. Is he completely unraveling? Or is he going to become something else? More Punisher like? Or is he going.
Is he hard like he was in the other dimension?
Yeah.
Oh man, that would be like I could see it happening, but this the reason. There's a reason we love this Peachmaker the way he is. You know,
But,
so I can see it happening for a brief period of time. So
it's funny because James Gunn has said they don't know if they're going to do a season 3 yet. They're trying to figure all that out and I mean, I don't know how they're going to wrap up some of this stuff now. It seems to me like they have enough material to easily do a season 3 with everything that he's going through, but maybe he plays into Man of Tomorrow and it's going to play out in there. And you're going to have to watch Peacemaker season 2 to really completely understand Man of Tomorrow. But I guess we have to watch next week to really know all this. But I was just
yeah,
at the end of this episode, I was like, damn, I cannot wait for next week. I'm glad he said it was 57 minutes because that'll still probably fly by in what seems like about 15 minutes because it's just so well written. Dialogue, the way the storylines flow into each other and just make total sense for everything going on. You can't beat James Gunn. It was funny. The guy who plays Keith, he was on Brandon Davis's Phase Zero or Phase Hero thing. It was funny because he was talking to him and he goes, even before I read the script, I knew I wanted to do it. It was James Gunn. And he was talking about his scene at the end of last week's episode. He goes where he's chasing Ebediah. He goes, I read it. It wasn't even filmed yet. And I'm like, I am going to be memed up on this. I know it. And he has been. I've seen tons of memes of that now, him chasing after her with all the people behind it and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see.
yeah. James Gunn is pretty much he's hitting his stride as a writer right now. I mean, everything he's done has been like the lowest quality level would probably be like Brightburn, and that was still above average.
He didn't write that.
And that wasn't even him. You're right.
Yeah.
That wasn't even him. But yeah, everything he's done, I've liked. I love his storytelling. Creature Commandos, all the characters he factors in, he still gives them all a backstory, and it still advances the show. He can write movies. He can write TV shows. He's hitting on all cylinders right now.
He is. And I am so glad he's in charge of the DCU because he seems to have a good understanding of where he wants his story to go, but also not worrying about everything connecting in some way. Like he even said the Clayface came out of left field. He said they had no plans to do a Clayface thing, and then, the script, he got the script from Mike Flanagan and was like, he's like, oh my God, we have to do this. This is so good. And it's nice he's willing to branch off and stuff. And I'm sure maybe he made some notes, maybe do this and this, maybe to tie in, but he just wants to make good movies. And I think he understands, even though some fans get upset when canon is changed or anything. Comics do that all the time. They're retconned and everything else. What's up, buddy?
The soft is very short. You gotta feed it.
That shirt is very soft, or
Yes,
that
it's-
soft is very short?
The shirt is very soft.
Nice. It is pretty nice. Way to go,
You
buddy.
should have got one.
I should have got one. You're right.
I don't like how it's it's AI generated. I don't like how it's kind of made by a clanker. I don't know why people call
clanker.
AI clanker.
I can't say he's not my kid, but yeah.
No, but he like you said with the Clayface thing, he said that the story he wants to tell in the DCU is going to take him a decade to tell. Like And obviously, Clayface wasn't in that original plan, but he can adjust, and he can say, "Here, I only need a couple of things to factor into the overall universe," and those aren't necessarily storylines.
Yeah.
They just have characters that know that character. You know, he could put Lobo in there for a minute because he's going to be introduced in the next movie anyway. Then he could be in like, they're both villains, basically, and they could have some sort of relation. See that, and it would be that small, and it would still be cool.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to have a whole plot line.
And he knows you can have little offshoot movies that don't have to tie in, much like the first Guardians of the Galaxy. The only way it even tied back to the MCU in any way was Thanos and, and an Infinity Stone. Everything else was on its own, and he just does a great job of understanding characters and separating them. It's so hard for some people to write different kinds of characters, but he seems to have zero problem with it. And he just cranks out, like I wrote season 2 in, like he said, like 2 weeks. And I bet it would take most people months to a year to write a whole season. But he just has these ideas and it just flows. It was much like, I still remember Joe Whedon. He said he wrote Age of Ultron like in a weekend. Like after he filmed the first Avengers, it just all came to him and he was just writing and writing. And I'm sure there was scripts, but man, sometimes these guys just get that idea and just get that bug. And he seems to always be that way. He talks about how he doesn't get writer's block. And people are like, how can you not get writer's block? He goes, I just write. Sometimes it's complete crap and I have to scrap it all. But I found that if you just keep writing, it'll come back to you and you won't feel like you can't do it. So he knows what he's doing.
I have read that before. If you have writer's block, you just keep writing, and then it eventually works its way out of you. But that was written by a writer. So.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing how his relationship with Eagly is too, because Eagly basically did save his life, but I don't think Chris wanted him to, and he ended up hurting his brother. So I mean, how is he going to take that? Because he's always, he took Eagly to the new place. That was his best friend. He wanted to hang out with them and everything. And then, unfortunately, all this happened. But I was like, man, what another little niche for him to have to deal with. It wasn't him killing him, which he would be rough with, but all of his friends and Eagly basically hurting and killing his family from the other dimension, where he never felt, more at ease with his family. He felt great, and
he wanted a family. That's why he went there.
Yeah.
That's why he didn't notice anything else, because he never had a family, and now he had one.
And a family that actually loved him. Like his dad cared for him here. His brother cared for him. And even the Harcourt there cared for him. It's like everybody liked him there, where everyone in this universe, he felt like everyone hated him. And it was a bad situation. It was the exact opposite there. So it's going to be hard for him to get over that. And that's what we need in comic book movies, some depth like that, some complexity to the characters. I love a good scrap, don't get me wrong. But it's nice that they have this stuff going on too, so.
Yeah. And, one person who doesn't like Eagly is Economos.
Well, he wouldn't.
You're so selfish.
Free me. And then he brings him a string.
Yeah, he's looking for food. It's like, oh, you are so selfish.
But, I'm looking forward to the season finale too. Are we going to see any crazy, cameos? Anything from other dimensions that may pop up in this? We saw the skeleton heads on like those giant spider bodies in the trailer, so that's coming. And
wacky.
Is Argus going to try to take some of those things back and use them as weapons? Are we going to see any heroes? There's been rumors that we're going to see Blue Beetle in this. I don't know if that's true. And the one thing I keep wondering about, we heard way back when that Camille Nanjiani was going to be Booster Gold in the DCU. Showrunners for the show changed. People don't think he's in charge anymore. But he was at the premiere of Peacemaker. So a lot of people think Booster Gold is going to show up in the season finale next week.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. I love Booster Gold as character. You know, he's
Do you think they'll have a David Corn Sweat moment? Like if it turned out to be Bizarro or the Red Sun or something like that. Do you think they would have Corn Sweat come in and do like one scene?
I'm sure he would.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd have no problem doing it. Everyone who works with James Gunn seems to love him and has no problem jumping in and out and doing things he needs. He must be a good guy to work with, and you know.
Yeah, was that you that was saying that Nicholas Holt took base pay for his appearance in the show?
He did.
And,
So did Michael Rooker.
Yeah, and they'll get it in the back end or whatever because they like working with James Gunn.
Yep. He said, "Hey, we need this to fit in."
I'm surprised Nathan Fillion hasn't popped up. Guy Gardner yet.
He did. He was in the first
I guess
episode.
he did in the second episode, so never mind.
Yeah, he might show up again. Who knows? You know, it's
Yeah.
we may see the Justice Gang going up against Argus with Superman, so they'll be the Justice League. No, too early. Too early. But should we rate this episode?
I hate to rate it so fast, but at the same time, we probably talked the whole length of the show right now.
Yep.
I mean, that's as long as the show was. It was so packed with so many things. I guess I've already started my review. Sorry.
Don't be sorry.
But this show, we could probably talk forever on the depth of the emotions of the show, everything that happened. Everybody's acting is incredible. When they're both judo master and vigilante referring to Cheetos or Cheerios ending in H, and they just don't taste as good over here. It was such a great episode. I don't even know what else to say. We were praising this up and down. The only thing that was wrong with this episode is everyone following him into the pool, which I don't know why they would do that, but still, it was still fun. It was still great the way they canceled that fight, because I don't think if they went around the pool, there was no way she was going to get away. So I'm not even going to mark it down for that. I think this episode was great. I can't wait for next episode. I know it's not going to let us down. I'm going to give this week an 8.
That is fantastic. Yeah, I mean, love this season has been great. Season 1 was tremendous. This season is totally different and still just as good. I mean, all the music choices are great. All of the characters just completely play as they should. Dialogue is fantastic. Never feels forced. Never feels like they're explaining stuff to us. I mean, every character just does and says what they should. And he has done so many little things to twist the story a little bit. You know, like his dad not being a Nazi in this universe and being, his brother being alive and putting all these things together and the way they've all come together now for this final episode between the quantum unfolding chamber, stuff from Superman. It has been an absolute joy to watch. And I'm loving it. You're right. There was only 2 things wrong with this episode. Why she jumped in the pool and why everyone followed her, except for the fact that Judo Master could zap them all and, up his 4 thing. And we didn't see G.I. Robot killing Nazis. But that sounds like a Nazi. But I still loved it. I'm going to give this episode an 8.5. I mean, it has done such a great job of keeping me completely entertained and enthralled. We always talk about phone moments. I don't have any when I'm watching this show until it ends, and I'm like, what the hell? How is it over? And then I look at my phone, I'm like, oh, that was like 35 minutes. Okay. And then, even though this is my biggest gripe on the DCU so far, and it's not even a major one, but I just don't like the fact that the post-credit scenes never set up anything for the future, really. It's always sort of gags or stuff like that. But I have loved every one of these ad-lib moments that we get from this. The best one.
Even this one.
Yeah. But they just do such a great... Actually, this one, I was laughing. I wonder... There's actually a theory on that. I'm glad you brought that up because I almost forgot it. When he does that, I almost thought he was doing it, not because he wanted to do what he was saying he was going to do, but to get everybody out of the room. So maybe he starts setting it up to help Luthor, put some plans in place that Luthor wants for him to be there. Like, this is all part of Luthor's plan. He wanted him to be back in that communication thing. He had things he needed to do. And I think we're going to find out him being there is going to help Luthor with something else down the line. It was not like him trying to get him out of there was not just a laugh off moment. It had reason behind it.
The laugh off part of it is that the guy didn't leave.
I know. He was
He's
just standing
hanging out. He looked like he was interested. That was the laughable part. Okay, you're this is your choice.
Go ahead. All right, anyone out? Tundra Walker, Joel Zamaya is my tiger. He's definitely not my tiger. There's a few guys, maybe Kerry Carpenter, maybe Tarek Skubal. There's so many awesome tigers to choose from. But did you watch Peacemaker episode 7, Like a Keith in the Night? I know that's your favorite name, but let us know what you think,
This is
Tundra
the
Walker.
most masculine name in the English language. Yes.
Yes, it is. Now, anyone down over in YouTube land, if you want to let us know what you thought of this episode, on the Doug scale, 1 to 10, with 5 being average, please let us know. But we do have some MCU news and notes.
Interesting.
The first one made me laugh out loud. So, Mark Ruffalo was on Fallon. And asked him about him not being included in the Avengers Doomsday cast. And he said they decided that it was better to get rid of me than for me to tell the end of the next movie.
Which makes me think he's in it.
I think he'll definitely be in it. He's, I think who they announced will be the main cast, but I'm sure we're going to see the Hulk and other things in it. And of course, Wonder Man wasn't announced. And we know he's probably going to be the star of Doomsday and Secret Wars, of course.
Yeah, he's going to be the main character, of course. Well, I mean, we did read, or maybe I read. I don't know. I can't remember if we discussed it. Just that the Hulk is supposed to be going back to a more vicious form of Hulk.
Yes,
And
the rumor is that he's going to be Savage Hulk again.
And that's going to happen in the Spider-Man movie?
That's what we hear. Whether that is true or
Okay.
not, we don't know. Sometimes these scoopers.
Maybe he's too vicious by Doomsday. And maybe he couldn't be in it or else he'd kill everybody. And that's what I thought was maybe the movie in between, maybe World War Hulk. That's now the Simpsons movie.
Yeah,
So,
fortunately, we won't be getting an MCU movie between Doomsday and Secret Wars. As much as I wanted it to be another Avengers film, which would have been cool if it was like Avengers World War Hulk or something. That would have been kind of fantastic. But let's see. Hunter Iggy says James Gunn is over 57 minutes. Oh, yeah. The final
for the last
episode.
episode.
Yep, 57 minutes. Yeah, we did hear that. We're very excited about that because there's a lot to wrap up in this final episode. And whatever doesn't lead into Man of Tomorrow. And then one of the other little bits of news is the writer's room for Daredevil Born Again Season 3 starts this week. So it does look like they're trying to get a season out every year. Brad, forget his name, the head of Marvel Television has said he wants to start having shows that come out yearly. Keep them going. So sounds like Daredevil's one of those shows. Hopefully it keeps going as long as it's good.
yeah, this whole 2 or 3 years between seasons and then only putting out like 8 episodes thing is kind of cheesy, if you ask me. That's like, I don't know, kind of the easy way out, and it's also, look what that did to Stranger Things. If you look at it, those kids are definitely not high schoolers anymore. They were in middle school when they started that series, and now they're all in their 20s, and I think it would have played better. I don't know what story they're telling, I guess, but I think it would have played better had they done it a lot, maybe, a lot closer together.
Yeah.
Now I feel like they've all outgrown their parts, and I'm not excited about season 5 at all because it's been so long. it's been drowned by everything else.
Yeah, I can't even remember what happened. I'm sure somebody will post a video explaining everything that's happened, but yeah, I mean, they've probably, it was the highest, not highest rated, but the most watched show on Netflix for a long time. I don't think season 5 is going to live up to it because I think a lot of people are like, at this point, who cares? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people will come back. Maybe they'll get a bunch of minutes, people rewatching the first 4 seasons and, to get caught up, but I'm not excited. I'm with you.
Well, if they throw out like even more episodes that are like 2.5 hours long, that isn't going to be good either. Because I wasn't excited about that, and I was still kind of into the show when they did it. And I was just like, you can't play me an entire movie each week.
Yeah.
Maybe a fun finale or an opening episode. Okay, I can get that, but episodes in the middle of the season, that's a little much for me.
Yeah, it's like there was 8 episodes in season 4, but it was like 20 some hours of. It's like, holy cow, that's a lot. That's a little bit too much almost. But
and I read that the Duffer Brothers like that format. They would like to have a few years off and then put out another season. And I completely disagree with them on that. It's just, I mean, they used to put out shows every season for like 22 episodes. Okay, so don't do the 22 episodes. Kill all the filler. Make a good quality season every year. 10 episodes, 8 to 10 episodes.
yeah, whatever you need to tell your story. Doesn't need to be 22. I mean, if you have enough for 22, by all means, do it. But yeah, if you got a 6, 8, 10, 12 episode story, do that. It doesn't always have to be, the days of network television where it's like, it's got to be 22 episodes and, this, and that. There's so much more freedom in streaming. You can be like, you know what, our seasons are going to be 8 episodes or 6 or, this. And if you want us to do it every year, we can, but we're going to need this, and this. But it seems like sometimes, too, the actors are doing so many more projects because they're not filming for an entire year. They kind of, scheduling becomes a little bit more difficult, but I'm sure they can figure it all out. If Marvel Television is going to be able to give us a Daredevil season every year, maybe X-Men 97, and, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man or something, I think other people could do it.
I mean, and plus they do on these shows, they do episodes that don't include the whole cast.
Yep.
So there's a day of filming that they don't have to have everybody there. They can either have, if they do have everyone working, they can have on different locations. So there's 2 episodes they can film at once. So, there's things they can do to keep it moving. They don't have to take years off unless they just don't have any ideas, which I would hope would be the case.
Well, if you don't have ideas, maybe you don't stop doing the show. But who knows? But speaking of second seasons, according to Daniel RPK, Vision Quest might get a season 2.
Wow. That's a lot. That's a good story then.
Yeah, and it's funny because both Wonder Man, and this is my bias out of it, both Wonder Man and Vision Quest have, people who've seen it said it's some of the best television Marvel has done. So I'm like, cool. Hopefully that's true. I haven't been as down on all their television as some other people, but it hasn't all been great. But there's been good. I mean, WandaVision, Loki, Hawkeye. I liked Miss Marvel. I know you're not as big a fan, but there's been some good stuff, and get back to that. And the
But
problem is, and I always
they do any more like, oh, I'm sorry, if they do any more like Moon Knight, or they got to do a different kind of Moon Knight if they're going to do another season.
we need a street level Moon Knight.
She-Hulk missed the target for sure, and Special Investigation, they gotta. It's like 50-50 on their shows right now, so I hope they really improve. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was, again,
Fine.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't great, wasn't terrible. That's not really what you want to hear about your projects, but it really was. And I hope, maybe one of the complaints you had talked to one of your buddies. I remember talking about this with Thunderbolts. Didn't do great at the box office. It did fine, but your one buddy was like, I don't want to see the B team.
Yeah.
And so much of the multiversal saga has been not the heroes we all got, invested in the first phase. We're not seeing Iron Man, Captain America, all that. We see Hawkeye and we'll see Thor and stuff like that. But, unfortunately, the Thor movie wasn't that great. But hopefully they get back to that. And with the reboot after Secret Wars, maybe they understand, hey, secondary characters are fine when they're supporting role with one of the majors, but you can't hope to pull a cinematic universe with the B team.
Yeah.
Because we'll watch it because we love, we're deep into all this stuff, but the casual viewer is not going to go see B team for the most part.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter who the actor is because these actors, I think Marvel pretty much they seem to nail all the casting great. Everyone seems to be able to play their part very well. It's just the stories aren't there.
True. And then that is all the Marvel news we have, but we do have one more little bit of news. It's not Marvel. It's not DC. It's not Star Wars. It's not Lord of the Rings.
It's not Stranger Things.
It's not Stranger Things. It's not anime. But our good friend TG, the Terrible Gamer, became a Twitch partner over the weekend. For those of you who were a part of his partner push the last couple weeks, he's been on. He's been great. He's awesome. So we're very happy for him. He announced it, I think yesterday, that he did get Twitch partner. So congratulations on a well-deserved honor. We always happy to watch him, but I do believe that is all we have for the evening, Sir Dave. Should we find somebody to raid?
Yes, I have a feeling it's going to be all the usual suspects. Yeah, that's all I got on my screen is the usuals.
Oh,
Bubble.
Yeah. Bubble playing Ghost of Yatai. T-Pain. Nope. Don't got enough for him.
TG is on. And what a great way to help him out by raiding him after he gets partner.
That's right. Let's do it. I didn't know he was even going to be on tonight. He wasn't on before we came on.
Well, good. Maybe he won't. He'll still be on for a little while.
Yeah. And for those of you on YouTube who are wondering what a raid is, it's something we do on Twitch where we send our viewers to another content creator that we enjoy. It's a way to keep the party going. There is a way to do it on YouTube, but it's clunky and not fun, and you need to know who you're going to raid prior to starting, and we don't really know who's going to be live when we're done streaming, so we don't really do it. But if you are watching us on YouTube, whether it's live now or as a rerun, as they say, don't forget to do all the YouTube things. Please subscribe, like it, comment down below. Free to you, and it helps our small channel out tremendously. So we are going to raid TG, and thanks for everybody. We'll be back Thursday night talking about Gen V.
Hey fellow nerds, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.